Y'all really like hearing me complaining.
Bonjour.
Hello my fellow warriors, hope you're doing great. So 2021 has begun and so far it's been quite crazy. Like my favorite content makers and artists following me on Twitter, breaking 7,000 followers on Twitch and applying to the Twitch partner program, simping over game characters so hard it brought all of us degenerates together, having 𝗂𝗏 not censor anything I said in our latest collaboration, and watching Vayne fighting alongside 𝗵𝗵 instead of crossbowing her to the nearest wall. Of course, for those who watched me long enough and watched my previous videos, you'll know that this is actually not as outrageous as others make it to be, because Yordles use glamour, a type of magic that conceals their fluffy little forms from others. It's extremely useful in places where they would probably want to use you as a lab rat. But this video is not about our fluffy brethren, but this bitch, right here. In my likes video, I showed you a simple chart of who I like and dislike. Overall, I have absolutely no issue with any of these characters because by the end of the day, they are all great characters that have proper moral values. But them I have a problem with. If you would like to know why I dislike Lux, I made an entire video about that last time. And when it comes to Garen, I mentioned him in that video as well. But you know, that was before I read the Garen novella. And I have to admit, after reading all the 150 pages of the Garen novella, I still dislike Garen Crownguard. Because even with him being a great soldier, a friend, and a leader, his bullshit righteousness pisses me off. Even more so knowing that him and his crew were eating delicious juicy steaks next to, wait for it, 𝗂𝗫𝗃, who is a big Taurinian bull man who also happens to be part of the Vanguard. Like, imagine you with your best friends and they're literally munching on your juicy cousins. I honestly don't understand how 𝗂𝗫𝗃 is okay with it. Like, that scene alone deserves to have a sequel where 𝗂𝗫𝗃 beefs it out with the Vanguards. I'm sure that if he brought his brethren, the stakes would be in their favor. Like, they could absolutely butcher them. By the way, if you'd like me to talk more about the novella, let me know in the comment section down below, because I got a green light from Anthony Reynolds, and I'd like y'all to check it out yourselves. Now back to Kale and Vayne. Kale is a righteous supremacist. She's like a female Garen on steroids. No questions asked, no moral values, you just do whatever fits your views, even if it means annihilating others. And speaking of annihilating others, this is Shauna Vayne. Shauna Vayne was the only child to a wealthy Demacian couple. She lived a very lavish and peaceful life until one day, on her 16th birthday, she came home to find her dead parents. Sweet 16. Yeah, the culprit? Miss Evelyn herself. Vayne swore to avenge her family and kill the demon, and by that I mean go full on Bruce Wayne and use all the money in her possession to gear herself up and hunt Evelyn down. Thank God she doesn't keep little boys in spendings around her, cause that would be weird. Anyway, so far everything seems fine, right? Yeah, so this is where things get messy. During one of her hunts, Vayne got into a problem and was saved by a lovely middle-aged Freljordian woman by the name of Frey. Frey tended to her wounds and told her of her life's work spent fighting Lysandra's minions, who had also murdered her children. Because I mean, how else can you be a good witch if you don't have a proper child body count on your hands, right? Anyways, hearing that she too has lost her family, Vayne related to her on a spiritual level and begged the woman to take her as a student. At first, Frey refused, but after seeing how determined Vayne was, she ended up teaching her everything she knew about hunting and magic, and by that committing the biggest mistake of her life. Why? Well, one night as they journeyed into the hills, Vayne found herself distracted. For the first time in her life, she was worried about someone else's life. At this point, Frey was literally like a second mother to her, and she was afraid she'll lose her too. Which is why she didn't notice the danger lurking in the bushes when a demon launched at her, smashing her shoulder with a mace. It is then when the whole situation took a turn. Frey turned to Vayne and apologized to her friend as she started to transform into a monstrous Freljordian wolf. It was literally the only way to ensure their safety. So Frey had no choice but to show her her secret form and maul the demon to bits. Once it was over and the demon's body parts were sprawled all over, 𝗲 retook her human form, explaining that after the death of her family, she had become a shaman in order to gain the power to change shape and fight against Lysandra. The ritual that gave her these powers involved dark magic, but she made that sacrifice too. Before 𝗲 managed to let out another syllable, Vayne already put an arrow through 𝗲's heart. In a second, whatever affection Vayne had for 𝗲 evaporated upon discovering her true nature. A tear formed in 𝗲's eye as she collapsed, but Vayne didn't even notice. Whatever warmth the two had shared died with 𝗲, and for the first time since her parents' death, Vayne smiled. There are many evil champions in League, those perfect villains we love to hate. But Vayne is a whole different breed. 𝗲 taught her everything. Everything! She trusted her, she shapeshift to protect them. And that privilege, spoiled, rotten to the core crazy bitch, killed her with a smile on her face. Why? Because in her eyes, a 𝗏 shaman is no different than a demon or a monster. We have champions like Tom, Evelynn, Jhin, and Thresh, who are all extremely unhinged and as murderous, but the fact that she turned on someone she deemed as family, someone who she had seen as a mother, managed to disconnect that fast and enjoy it, is in my opinion far more worse than anything I've seen in the lore. In her other story, Monsters, she took whatever remained of the dismembered body of a shapeshifter that she hunted down and put it in his wife's cabin to watch her cry in agony before she blew her brains out. Why bring the body and not just kill her on the spot? Because it's fun. Her biggest wish was to make Runeterra's underworld fear her the way she had once feared them. And that wish came true. But the irony in all of this is that she turned into something far worse than those she deems as monsters. And that is why Vayne is my most hated champion. Also, if you take her top, fuck you and your small shrimp. That is all for today. If you guys enjoyed the video, please don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you'd like to support the channel, please check out my Patreon and donation pages. Also, huge thank you to my Patreons, 𝗵𝗵𝗨, Radic, and Find, John Doe, 𝗵𝗵𝗨, Offic, Absolute Yeast, Hirak, Clockwork Ronin, and 𝗬𝗏𝗏𝗏 for helping me make this video. And that is all for today. Thank you guys for watching, and I hope to see you next time. Bye bye.